Boker Tov, good morning. Today is Friday, December 3rd. This fifth day of Chanukah. Tonight is the sixth night of Chanukah. Shabbat Chanukah Rosh Chodesh. And it's a reminder to folks that you light Chanukah candles before Shabbos candles, and they're meant to last for into the night time. So that means you need to try to not use regular Chanukah candles, but try to get a hold of long-lasting candles. Either use Shabbos candles if you can maneuver that, or get beeswax candles, or use your oil and make sure that it lasts till around 5:30 ish in the evening. That's what you shoot for, at least. Okay. So why do we do this? why are we lighting Hanukkah candles? I understand why the Kohen in the Beis Hamikdash would light Hanukkah candles. I could even understand why it would have been the case that synagogues across the world would light menorahs, which we do Chanukiot, but apparently not out of obligation, but for a sort of a separate kind of notion about Pirsum Haines, to publicize the miracle, but not obligatory. So much so, the Ramah says, if you lit menorah in shul, you were there, present for menorah lighting in shul, you still have to go home and light your Chanukiah at home. Why did the Chachamim, why did the sages set it up this way? That Chanukah be observed in the home, when this was a miracle that either was a miracle of the battlefield, Rabim Be'ad Me'atim, that the many of the Seleucid army fell into the hands of the few of the Hasmonean forces, or the miracle of the Pach Shemen, of that cruse of oil that was found in the Beis Hamikdash around the menorah. So let that be something that's observed in the Beit Hamikdash, and once the temple is destroyed, to the Mikdash Ma'at, to the small temple, namely move it to the synagogues, which in many other ways mimic the Beis Hamikdash, the different furnishings of the synagogue are meant to evoke that. We're doing some work now in choosing and crafting the different furnishings of our new sanctuary and thinking about that, right? So why do the Chachamim instead establish this as a home ritual and not make it a synagogue ritual? So partially I cheated. And when I said that, well, the natural movement is from the Beit Hamikdash to the Mikdash Ma'at, from the temple of old to the small synagogues right all around the world, that would be the natural flow. That's not exactly the case. We actually have different teachings of the Chachamim which talk about the fact that our homes became, in certain ways, evocative of the Beis Hamikdash. So that, for example, your shulchan, your table, is meant to evoke and remind you of the mizbeach, of the altar. And so, when the temple was destroyed, it would have its line go that way, right? Not to the synagogue, but to the home. Okay, that's a real possibility, which then becomes an interesting question. Was namely, if that theory is correct, then until the temple was destroyed, for that whole period of time, from the time of the Chanukah miracle, and the Hasmoneans through all the early Roman period, would say that the Jews did not light menorah at home. It's interesting. The Gemara describes l'shana acheret, at another year. The Chachamim established it. Maybe that means a very long time later. Could be. It could be. Or I'd like to suggest a different answer, and that is that the premise is incorrect. It's not really our focus should not be on where the miracle occurred and then what is paralleling that space. There's no parallel to the battlefield, and there's even the march back to the temple. It's not going to have its parallel at all. And the menorah lights, the miracle of the oil for the menorah, that happened in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's clearly a Beis Hamikdash event. But this holiday was not established for, directing around where the miracles happen, but for the nature of the battle that was fought altogether that was won by these miracles. The Hasmonean energy, the story of the Maccabees, was a story of people who fought for the Jewish home, for the ability and the right and the capacity to lead our Jewish lives as we knew them to be important to lead, to have the Shabbos that we want to have and that we're told to have and obligated to have, and the kashrus that we're obligated to have, and everything else about Jewish life in its richness, which the Hellenistic period sought to strip us of. And some of the decrees, as you read them in the book of Maccabees, were intended to prevent us from carrying out. So God enabled the Maccabees, the Hasmoneans, to defeat those who would prevent us from leading those lives, and we could once more do so. And so the right place to celebrate that is the Jewish home. The Jewish home, where we should be leading those rich lives. One of the teachings about the menorah as it stood in the Beis HaMikdash was to make a statement. Says I think it's the name of Sheshis. I pulled my notes up here. I believe it was he who said this. To make the statement Shashchina Sharaba Yisrael. Yeah, it says Rav Sheshis. There you go. It's testimony that God's presence was to be found in Israel. That's what the power of the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash was. And so it was really quite significant that when they returned to the Beis HaMikdash, they could feel that was taking place, yes? To a significant degree, when we light the menorah in our homes, we are making the very same statement. That our place, that in which we live, is a place where it's not merely a place full of love, which it should be, and kindness, which it must be, but it's a place where we can feel that God is present. Hashchina shora po. God's presence is to be found here, and that then should affect the way in which we have our interactions, right? And I encourage you, even though it's a crazy day, we rushing around with very early Shabbos, and we have to slip in that time to light the menorah before Shabbos lights, and we got to run off to shul, hopefully, to wherever minyan is happening. Try to take a few moments, just a few, and look around and say, "Wow, this is a place where I'm able to lead my life richly, my Jewish life richly. My commitments are strong, and I've done my task, and I completed my task in helping bring God into my space." May you feel that, my friends, and it be indeed a Shabbos that's filled with that power. This Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh Chanukah, may be filled with blessing and the presence of God in all that we do. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, Chanukah Sameach, and a good Chodesh.